And we're back on Central Valley Talk. I'm Mike Scott, joined now by Joseph Hebert from the San Joaquin Political Academy. Some of you may not know there is a school you can go to here in the Central Valley to learn how, if you want to run for office, political office. I mean, I didn't know there was a school for that.
And that's exactly why I'm here, because a lot of people didn't know that we actually have a place, if you're thinking about running for office, where you can learn the nuts and bolts of how to run, how to put together a campaign, how to put together a strategy, how to brand yourself, everything you need to know to run for an elected office.
You don't just stick a sign in somebody's front yard and expect to get elected.
I tried that. It didn't work.
It didn't work? So you went through the
class
class yourself.
I was in Class 9. We just now graduated a few weeks ago, Class 11. And we're going to start very soon the recruiting process for class number 12.
Okay. And these are 6-week classes, you told me. 2 nights a week?
6-week classes, 2 nights a week, where you learn everything from fundraising to branding yourself. One of the more interesting classes, the very first class, is to learn what you stand for, what your brand is. If you see people on some of the candidates, sometimes they have probably worked with a consultant, and usually when they don't want to ask a question, they'll go back to their brand. You know,
when they don't want to answer
when they don't want to answer a question, so they go back to their brand.
Well, you see that in the political debates all the time.
Right.
They never answer the question. They get back to their 3 points they want to make.
And that's what you learn in the academy is basically.
Wait a minute. Now, so you teach people to avoid answering the questions.
Well, we actually teach you how to be a candidate.
Yeah.
And so the branding is real important. If the philosophy is if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. But you've got to stay what you stand for. I mean, if you're just going to run and say it's just my ego, that's not going to fly.
Right.
But if you do have a passion about an issue, and this is what you stand for, or my background gives me credibility, that's what we're going to bring out of you in this class. And that's only 2 classes. The rest of the class is about mock debates, how to interview on television, how to deal with reporters, how to fundraise. They actually bring in a lot of the elected officials who come through, and then we'll tell you some of their experiences. And so this is one of the few times in life you'll get a chance to actually, in a small setting, talk to one of the elected officials, whether it's a council person, board of supervisors. You can actually ask them pointed questions. Hey, what do you think about this? Or what are you doing? How did you get there? And what do you think about now that you're there? What has changed in your life now that you're in this position that you sought? And so it's a very, very interesting dynamic, and it's not a class that you're going to get in a university. You're not going to get this in in any kind of formal training other than what we offer.
Well, who are the teachers?
So we have
politicians.
We have some of the politicians come in and actually teach the class. We actually have one of the very local people who do branding. He has a branding agency, Jansen Brands. I don't know if you know Gary Jansen, but in the area. He teaches, that's actually the most popular class. And then also we have some of the reporters from the local television stations, and we actually do we give you a scenario where you've had a problem in the community, and maybe you've misquoted or misstepped. And how do you deal with that on camera when somebody's in your face with a camera? And how do you?
Why did your name turn up on Ashley Madison?
Exactly. So it's those kind of things.
Let me talk about the economy.
You know, and we not only do that, but at the end of the class we do a mock debate. We actually have people get up and state their positions on camera, give speeches. And again, how do you weave what you want to say, but what do you stand for?
Yeah.
And it's got to be authentic, else people can see through that as well.
I worked as a reporter for 30 years, and when I see somebody being interviewed on TV, I can immediately tell whether they're giving an honest answer or whether they're just giving me a line that they have memorized and then they spit out again and again and again. I think it's important that you be honest with your answer.
I think being authentic will get you a long way.
People can see.
I think people can see through that, and I think that's one of the reasons that we have such a low voter turnout, not even here, but throughout the country.
Yeah.
People see that a lot of the candidates aren't very authentic, and one of the things we teach you is, you've got to know who you are, and we go through a good process to kind of bring that out of you. Some people don't even know who they are until you start going, and Gary works them real good. What have you done in your life? What things were important to you as you progressed through, from adolescence through adulthood? What things resonated with you? And at some point, you get a message. You go, whoa, wait a minute. This is who I am. I didn't even know it. And so it's important to really be authentic and be able to communicate well that authenticity.
I think that's part of the reason that Donald Trump has attracted the following he has. I mean, whether you agree with him or not, you pretty much believe that he believes what he's saying.
And he doesn't pull any punches.
No.
There's a lot of people that's resonating with people right now. And actually, you've got a groundswell. I mean, I'm not here to talk politics, but you have a groundswell of candidates who are not professional politicians who are very popular right now. And I think the country, the people aren't stupid. You've got a lot of mass media. You've got information coming at you from all sides, where you've got a lot of information, and you can tell when somebody's being sincere and somebody's just polished, and you go, well, I'm not quite. But I think that's one of the things that we really stress, in this academy, is that we want people to stand for something, but at least be authentic and understand how the process works. Understand how to run a campaign. Understand how to do fundraising. Understand how to stand in front of the public in a room, and it might be a room that's adversarial. It might be a room that doesn't agree with your positions, but if you stand for it, people will appreciate your sincerity, I think.
I'm curious. You went through the class yourself.
Yes, I did.
But you haven't run for office.
No,
you must have been thinking about it.
And to be honest with you, I've always been passionate about serving the community. I'm in business, but wherever I've lived, I moved here from Colorado 10 years ago, and I've always been involved in the community. I believe wherever you live, you have an obligation to make that community better. I haven't found an issue that I was completely passionate about in this area, so my little part right now is to see if we can convince good people who are sitting on the sidelines, to go through the academy, run for office, or even if you're not going to run for office, but at least understand how the process works and become more fluent in how that process works, more learned. And I think that's really the goal. And right now, if I find an issue that I really get passionate about,
we might see your name on the ballot.
Right there.
Yeah. What does the school cost?
School costs $500.
Okay.
And
for 6 weeks. That's
for
not
6
bad.
weeks, and we feed you. We're sponsored by the local restaurant association, and they actually provide meals.
That should be a class, how to eat rubber chicken.
How to eat right. And so we feed people. And the other thing, too, that's really important for people to know, our classes, and we haven't done really a good job of publicizing this, and which is why I'm here today, but it's open to the public. The public can come and sit in and watch our students go through the process. My wife, she came and sat through a couple classes. We make a pilgrimage to the classes to sit in and kind of just watch the new people go through.
Wait a minute, you don't have to sign up to do that. You can just
But you can sit and watch.
Wow.
You can sit and watch, and I think it's a great forum. It's a one of the things the board is talking about is maybe we want to bring some younger people come to just observe, and that might be something down the road. There's a lot of possibilities. We just have not. I've been going on television shows, speaking to Rotaries, said, hey, we have this here. This is sponsored by the Fresno Chamber. We have our classes at the Chamber. Come on down and check us out.
Fascinating stuff. Joseph, thank you so much for coming in today. Joseph Hebert from the San Joaquin Political Academy. Again, Class 12 coming up sometime early in 2016.
Probably this spring.
Where can folks find out more about it?
If they go through info@sjpoliticalacademy.com, you can get the information there, and I think there's a number on the screen as well.
Okay. Thank you again.
Good day.
And we'll be back with more on Central Valley Talk.